What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer doing a complete guide on Spriggans. Made a video about this a while ago, but I wanted to take another deep dive into it. There's a couple of very specific things that I would like to mention that I didn't necessarily mention last time. So I'm going to go card by card. I'm going to show a couple of combos, and while I go over the deck profile, I'll talk about a couple of theories I have, and then at the end I'll show some gameplay to kind of tie it all together. Onto the hand trap part. So you do have room for quite a bit, and that's kind of the strength of the deck, because one copy of Unicorn is full combo, which is really nice. So 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, 3 Droll, and then 2 Triple Tactics Talent. And you actually still have room for Crossout Designator. Again, like if you just see this card, you can do everything in the deck. So that's really, really nice, and it kind of helps with the consistency. And I'm going to talk about consistency a little bit more in just a second, but I think this is nice. Very rarely do you get to play, 10 going second cards or 11 plus crossout. You should probably also play like a copy of Nibiru, like you take out like one copy of Droll, something like that, because you are, vulnerable to it. At the very least, side it in. I don't think a lot of people are main decking Nibiru necessarily. So, but yeah, that's the idea. One copy of Regulus, and I didn't do my, I shouldn't say I didn't do the combo right earlier, but in my first video, but there's a kind of a better way to get you set up for Regulus. There's a very specific thing that I didn't talk about before, which I will during the combo. Unicorn obviously is the best play starter. In fact, I think I may end up going more all out. So I guess I'll talk now about my deck theory. I keep mentioning it. So I do run this little level 4 package, and I do think it can be replaced. It depends. Like Planet Pathfinder, first of all, is a level 4, so that does help a lot. The whole deck is based around level 4s, essentially. And like I said, Unicorn's full combo, so if you contribute this card to get Pressure Planet, then you can do everything. So that's kind of like part of the theory. Or I like play more Theosis. Right now I only play 1. I can play more Kashtira monsters. Because as long as you can get to Arsenal Falcon, you can essentially do everything. 2 copies of Fenrir. You actually, don't necessarily want to see this, because if you see both of these in your hand, it's not good. So that, like, I don't play Birth, and maybe I should. Maybe that's the key to everything. 1 copy of Riseheart. 1 copy of Rocky. Unfortunately, the Springans monsters just don't necessarily do anything. I do find a way to kind of maximize their use now, but yeah, if there's ever a level 4 in this deck that actually does anything that's half decent or works well with brothers, then like the potential of the deck just gets like much larger. 1 copy of Ascended Sage, 1 copy of Raider's Wing, and then I talked about Saki Tama and Artama. It's not the worst thing in the world, and being able to go into rank 2s, like this is a 1 card rank 2. I might even drop 1 copy of Saki Tama. I'm not sure. This is kind of the weird, kind of flexible part of the deck, I feel. 1 copy of Utopia Force, 2 copies of Prosperity, 1 copy of Theosis, 1 copy of Tally-Ho. I used to run this at 3 because it is a great card, but the unfortunate part is that Spriggan's monsters don't do anything. They're not good. And as you might imagine, that's an issue. So, like, just being able to search a Spriggan's monster doesn't do anything inherently. So you kind of just want to search it and then use its, like, soul charge effect, essentially. 1 copy of Terraforming, and then 3 copies of the Pressure Planet. So like I said, like I may even end up dropping all 3 of these, because if you do end up, getting yourself, the field spell and this, you just use this as a level 4 body. You don't normal summon over the course of the combo, which is kind of crazy, obviously. Onto the extra deck. 1 copy of Zeus, 1 copy of number 99, which brings out number 38. I use Lancelot. I think it's a really good card, number 23. And of course, that goes along with just your Utopia monsters in general, right? S39 and number 39. 1 copy of Sargus, 1 copy of Arsenal Falcon, 1 copy of Tornado, 1 copy of Castel. Just all of these kind of generic rank 4s that help you do certain things. This card especially has been very useful. 1 copy of Utopic Sage, Springans Merrymaker. You can almost always go into F0 over the course of your combo. You do, which is a good card. And then number 76. I used to run Kashtira, Shangri-La, and you're going to see it in all the replays, but there's so many times where your board is just full. Like, you cannot afford another monster zone. You just don't have one. So this card ends up being a little bit awkward. And this is like an interruption at the very least. And like I said, if you take out all 5 of these cards, well, then you can really start to do kind of whatever you want. 3 of them can be taken up by, Pathfinder. Maybe you add an extra copy of Theosis, or you add an extra copy of Prosperity. Maybe you add Call by the Grave. Those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and jump over to a couple of the basic combos. I'll show, just the first one where like you just see Unicorn. And, you can go Unicorn, search Theosis, go to Fenrir. Fenrir searches you Riseheart. You got to make sure you special summon it now because you're about to go into a non-Kashtira monster. But, your Raid Raptor Arsenal Falcon brings out the Raider's Wing. And the important part, which I went pretty fast there, is I sent Brothers to the graveyard. And then I immediately attached it to Merrymaker to give it one extra material, which ends up being really important because this card has an effect to search, which of course I already did this turn for Tally-Ho Spriggans, but the difference now is I have follow-up. It needs to have a material to search a Spriggans or a Therian card. That's the key thing here. So on the follow-up turn, I can search Regulus. But Raider's Wing obviously gets to bring itself back. And then I can turn this into F-Zero, which is really nice. And then I can turn this into Utopia. Essentially, if you open up like the Sakitama line, it's not Arsenal Falcon. You just get to put the, rank 7 on there. And again, at the time I had Shangri-Ira. But as you can see, if I did use that, I wouldn't even have the zone to bring out a Kashtira monster. So kind of makes it meaningless. Also, the cool thing about this end board is that you have this kind of Omni Negate waiting. It's kind of just like a good check for evenly matched. And you have a monster and you have a spell negate, so you kind of don't have to do anything right off the bat. You can wait. You can trigger Dragonar whenever you want, which of course is going to trigger this to either bounce a card to a hand or pop it, which is really important because you don't want to destroy every single card of your opponents, right? Okay, let's jump over into some replays here. This is against Mementos, and I think it's just full combo. I'm not going to show too many replays just because they are very similar in nature. But, it's nice when you have Regulus in your hand or if you have Tally-Ho in your hand, because then you get both forms of interruption. And you essentially just get another Omni Negate out of it. There goes Merrymaker. And again, making sure you attach is really important. It's probably the biggest change I've made to the deck since my last video. It's just like key reminder. Now, in this case, actually, I already had Therian King Regulus, so it really doesn't matter. But Regulus is really nice. The Omni Negate is especially nice because it leaves the field, meaning that when you do this, your opponent, when you negate something, now the zone is open, and then you can use Dragonar. And then you still get to, trigger Sargus, which is awesome. Yeah, this doesn't destroy, it sends it to the graveyard, the F-Zero, so that can also, help you win some duels just off of that little tiny effect alone. Yeah, this is about as good as it gets. Being able to do one card full combos is great. Ghost Ogre is a really popular card in this format, and I think that bodes well for this deck. I kind of do the old, razzle dazzle on him. Once he destroys it with Ghost Ogre, then I once again control no monsters. So he literally just wasted a card there, which works out very well for me. I can bring everything back. So besides the fact that I'm going to have a full board of monsters, I also have these 2 hand traps in my hand because you are running so many going second cards. I don't even think I use Pot of Prosperity right here, but I guess it's at least good follow-up, right? I don't necessarily want to use it. Now, if I didn't have any hand traps in my hand, okay, maybe I go for Pot of Prosperity for 3. But in this case, I might as well keep my extra deck here. He goes for the second one, yeah. Hope Harbinger negates spell cards and their effects, not just when they're activated. And I had Ash in my hand too, besides everything else I had going there. So that's kind of nice. This is against Horus. I'll just show maybe a few more. You really need to run Cross out because everything funnels through one specific combo. And this is what I was saying, I don't even really know if I necessarily need this. I'm not even going to be able to use it because if you are going to further extend, you need 2 level 4s. Now the red one does that because it adds this to the hand, so maybe you drop at least 1 copy of this, and that might be better. And there you go, the Imperm, which makes a huge difference. Otherwise I would have had absolutely nothing going on. And this Talons isn't doing anything either. When your opponent's starting with 5 cards and you essentially have like 5 forms of interruption, feels pretty good. And I'm just like holding on to this number 99, right? I don't have to use it right away. So I have a monster and a spell negate. I'm kind of ready for anything. And then, yeah, you get to pop a card. Here are just a couple of last ones. This one's against Hot Red. You know, going second, at least you have a lot of going second cards. Fenrir also technically counts, so you're kind of running like 14 going second cards, really. I mean, in this case, you can kind of see the value of this level 2 engine. Like, I have, I guess, a little bit of follow-up here. I figure if one of these cards is imperm, and I have, like, a chance, because, right, the whole point is to go into Zeus. So, hopefully I can find the card, like, the imperm, that way the other cards are just kind of sitting there. So that did work out for me. I don't think he even needed to use, imperm there. I think he could have just let me destroy that card. And then when I went for Zeus, he could have impermed it, and he could have kept the other 2 cards. We'll see what I end up getting off the top. And then I think this really showcases how good the what's it called? The Champion Sargus is. Even when you attach materials for this, like, that still works out. You know, a monster has had been detached. And here you go. Like, on my follow-up churn, I should have had a material. I didn't attach something to it, and that's a big problem. I think he ends up scooping. I had Ash in my hand, so, and then I can pop a card. But on that follow-up turn, I could have had Regulus in my hand. And I'm just going to go ahead and show just one more. In this case, I can search, Regulus, so that works out very well. Really showcasing the importance of Crossout Designator. Maybe even drop one copy of the yellow spirit monster. You know what I mean? And play Called by the Grave. It just has an extra form of protection. Because again, just seeing one level 4 doesn't usually do anything. The red one does help because it adds and it gives you a rank 4. But yeah, that's going to do it for Spriggans. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.